Hey guys, this is Jamie Lola Tallulah, and I am here for this week's die cut diaries. Now, although we normally would say we were using die cutting, this time I'm going to demonstrate a different type of tool. Sometimes you don't have a die cutting machine, and sometimes you want to make some boxes and so forth, and you don't have a die. So I'm going to show you how to make this box, where the lid fits perfectly along the base, right? And it is designed to hold 3x3s. So when you put it in there like that, you can stack your 3x3s. Now you could create a whole set for someone, or you could just use this box to just house 3x3s that you have and are keeping in your stash. By putting them in a box, of course, it makes it easier to just store because you could stack them on top. All right, now I am going to show you how to use this ScoreMaster by Crafter's Companion. Now they have this out. This is like one of her, quintessential pieces. The thing that she was known for is the ultimate tool, and then her scoring guide or board. So I purchased this after I purchased the ultimate tool because it was larger and it had all the things here. So let me just go ahead and show you this tool. First, here's the length of it. Okay, on one side it has centimeters, and the fabulous thing is on the other side it has inches. Okay, so that you don't have to try to convert things, you can just go ahead and do inches or centimeters. The other thing that is fabulous about this is that it has the built-in box base guide and the box lid guide, so that you can create a box using just this scoreboard. All right, now the first thing you have to decide is how big do you want your box? What are your dimensions? Now I use two 12x12, so obviously you have to go with your paper. I wanted a box that was 3¼ inches high. Okay, so that means I have to add that length or height to each side. And then the center, I originally wanted it to be 6 inches long, but because of the paper, you have to adjust. So let me just give you a diagram, and I thought this would be helpful to explain. So if you're trying to decide what size you want your box, think of the shape that you want, and this is just a basic box. So I want a rectangle. I want it to be this way, 3¼ inches, so that there was enough room to put in my 3x3. Okay. This way, I wanted 6 inches. I ended up having 5½. Okay, and I'll explain why in a minute. Okay, so this is the basic shape of the inside of the box that I want, the size. Now, because I want it to be a certain height, it has to be tall enough, right, for the card to fit in. So I wanted it to be 3¼ inches high. So then, if it helps, you can go like this. I don't know if you can see. Go like this. Oops. To show that you need an additional 3¼ So 3¼ here, 3¼ there, 3¼ here, and then that extra 3¼ there, which will give you the complete size of your box. Okay, so then what you need to do is cut your paper this way. So I need 3¼ 3¼ for the center, 3¼ which gives me 9¾ inches. Okay, then because I wanted it as long as I could get it, I need 3¼ this way, 3¼ that way, which gives me 6½. So the longest I can have in here is 5½. So that will get me a 9¾ by 12-inch piece of paper. Hopefully that was clear, because sometimes I don't think when you try to figure it out, I don't think it's always as clear. So that's going to give me this piece. All right. Now, I went ahead and did that. So I cut 2 pieces, and you cut them exactly the same size. So I have one for the base and one for the lid, right? Okay. So I want this one to be my lid and this one to be my base. They're the exact same size, 9 3/4 by 12. So since I want this to be the bottom of my box, I go over here and see where it says base. I line it up there. Okay. All right. I line it up on this side. And you'll notice that there's numbers at the top and the bottom. So I'm just going to turn it around because it's easier for me to do it this way. So for the base, I'm here. 3 1/4 is right here. So for every time, I just go 3 1/4, score it all the way down. Right? I turn it. Oops. Okay, let me get it back in there. So 3 1/4. My paper moved. I got 3 1/4. I turn it again, and I just line it up the same way, line it up against the side, and do 3 1/4. So 3 1/4. Okay. You do that on all 4 sides. And you do want to make sure you get it lined up, because if you don't, then your line's off, and that's what happened originally. I got my line off. I know it's kind of hard to see score lines, but that's all you have to do is just come and do that on all 4 sides, lining it up on the base. So you got to do that. You have to make sure you're counting it from the base. Okay. Right there, box base. So then I'm done. So here's my centerpiece. Then I have 3 1/4 for the height and everything else. Now you flip it to this side because I want to do my lid now. I just turn it this way, and that's why I like the fact that the number's on the top and the bottom. And you do the same thing. You come back here, make sure you're lined up on your box lid side. Then you come 3 1/4 on all 4 sides. And it's actually pretty easy. This is a very simple, this is a simple, straightforward box. So this is pretty easy. You can do some other more complicated boxes. But you know me, when it starts to get complicated, I just rather have a die. But this is very simple, and it's also very quick. Now, it's taken me a little longer, obviously, because I'm trying to explain things. But other than that, so when you look at this, maybe you can see it better this way. You see all your lines and so forth. So I'm just going to move this out the way because we're now done with this. You're done with the ScoreMaster. It's very easy to do. The hardest part is figuring out what size you want. Okay, is doing the math for that. And if you just want a very simple box, like a simple square, then you don't even have to really do that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and fold my piece. And you'll notice just because of the paper I'm using, I'm not doing a very crisp fold over at first. I'm just kind of sort of easing it into it. And that way it reduces your cracking. All right. So then, basically, see how you have your box started? Okay. So you do the same thing to the other piece. All right. So then you have your pieces ready to go. Okay. All right, you want to, in one corner, cut this down. And then you want to cut a little sliver. And pull it out. And what that does is give you some extra room. Turn it to your next corner. Okay, so that gives you a little extra room for that. Does that make sense? All right, so then you want to go to your next corner, which is here, and we're going to cut. It doesn't really matter which way you cut it, but let's do this. It just has a different look depending on which way you cut it. So this one, it's a little snippy snip. Just snip that little piece out. There we go. Okay, so then we go here. Snip out of this. I really should use longer scissors, but these are the ones that I have on hand. Right. And then you have your last corner, which is here. And you're going to do the same thing. All right, so then you see that this is what your piece looks like, and you have these so that you can fold it up. All right, so then all you do is go through and put your box together, you know, glue your edges and so forth. Okay, so let me get some glue. I'm using art glitter glue. I joined that bandwagon. All right, so we're gonna put some glue here. And go ahead and put that. And then you just want to line up your edge so that it's neat. Press it down. Woo. Okay. Now, here's where you can decide. You can decide if you want this on the outside or if you want this on the inside. So all your pieces are on the inside. All right, so I'm going to put this up there, put some more glue. And you're going to line that up neatly. All right. And you can use a tape runner if you use a very strong one, or red line tape. And this right here is the very reason why you want to be able to do that. I use wet glue because I need to adjust this now. There we go. So we can go ahead and put that one in. Right. Okay. And we'll go to this one. That glue on there. And line it up as well. Then you have your last one. Whoop, come on, come on. There we go. Get it pushed down a little bit. Glue on it. And you could have put your glue the other way so that both tabs are out at the same time. I just want to do it this way to get it a little bit. Let me move that out a little bit. There we go. There we go. Okay. And so then I'm just going to go back and crease these edges a little more. I like to do it when it's actually glued back together to squeeze it a little more. Then you can get your seam a little bit better. Just get that in there. So there's the bottom of your box. And then you do the same thing for the top. Okay, so I've gone ahead and glued together the top, which is the same process as the bottom part. So I didn't think you need to see that twice. So have this going, and the great thing is, because of using the box base and the box lid, which is why it's better to have this than a regular scoreboard, or if you have the ultimate tool, is that you can see that the lid is slightly bigger, or vice versa. The base is slightly smaller, so that when you go to put them together, it slides perfectly inside. which is, whoa, fabulous. Because if you've tried to make boxes where you had to do all the measurements yourself, it's really a pain. The top piece has to be slightly bigger than the bottom piece, yada, 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 yada. So when you get that done, you can take your 3x3s and you will notice that they fit. You've got your little bit extra. And it's also good because you can line several of them up. Sort of like a dispenser if you wanted. Which makes this fabulous. And once you get the hang of it, they work up quickly. So, okay. Then, of course, you could go back. This is a very plain box, but you can go back and take your die cuts, add flowers, add this or that, bows. You can make it look like a gift box. Actually, you could use these as gift boxes. So it's fabulous. So those are the two that I've done. You can see. Made for 3x3s. Then I went ahead, because I was all involved, and I made two for 4x4s. And it's basically the same principle. Now, obviously, if you're using a 12x12 piece of paper, you can't go 4.5, 4.25 by 4.25 by 4.25, because that would give you, what, 13.25? So instead, I adjusted the height. So instead of lining the 4x4s up this way, you would actually lay them down in the box. Does that make sense? So let's see if I can find something. So instead of lining them like this, like the 3x3s, these you would lay down flat. Okay. I guess a wine bottle from HSN. So that is there. So I did this one, which I will probably give away because you see what the bottom part is. It's pink. Now, I like the hot pink, but y'all know I'm not a pink girl. And then I did one with stripes. And its base is the solid hot pink. And then once again, you could stack them up. What would be really interesting to do as well is take these, or even make smaller boxes, and put them inside of each other. You could also use this scoreboard to make boxes so that you could do the exploding boxes. Obviously, you would cut pieces out, but it would be interesting to do that as well. If you would like to see a tutorial on me doing an exploding box with the scoreboard, you can let me know, and maybe I could try to get that in the rotation. All right, well, I just wanted to show you those items so you can see the two sizes together. So here are my 3x3s and my 4x4 one. Okay. All right, thanks for watching. I will see you next time on Die Cut Diaries with another one. Bye.